Let's take a look at parsing strings. Now we have some different functions that we can take a look at. We have the parse string, split, split I, pre-split, and explode. We're going to take a look at different parsing strings that allow us to actually take a string, and it might be delimited by certain values here. A string could be delimited by the equal symbol, ampersand, for example, and this is URL encoded to pass to a server, like if you were appending these parameters at the end of a particular script. And we'll see that in the forms section. But you can see we break it out effectively, and I'll show you how to do that. We can also work with arrays, noting the open and close bracket, and other ways to use the parse string. And then we'll talk about the split function and others. In the parsing strings file, if we slide down towards the middle, of course, we can see that we have that string there that I just mentioned. And the parse string function, very easy to use. This is going to actually take this key, and these are key value pairs, separated by the ampersand. It's going to take that and make that into a variable, as you can see, $A1, and then the value, whatever the value is going to be. In this case, it's value 1. So A1 is going to equal value 1. B1 is going to equal hello there without that plus sign. This is going to make the strings and the values more readable. This is actually special encoding that needs to be sent to the server so that you don't have spaces in between things and special characters that are going to get in the way of processing this to the server side. So it reverses that using parse string. You can also put in these brackets here for each of those keys. Notice that's after the ampersand for the next key, before the equal sign. And if you do it that way, the same name, open and close bracket with nothing in between, like an array, when we use parse string, then it's going to break it out into a type here that's an array. And you can see you can use it by the elements. Very easy. Very nice to do that. But even better, a step further, is to be able to use this with a parameter here, an optional parameter, comma separated after our source string. We have the destination. We have this passed by reference, and we'll look at that when we talk about passing by reference, but this is actually going to fill this value for us with this function. And you want to see the functions videos for more information in the functions section. But what it's doing is it's breaking this out into an array, but using keys. And the keys are actually going to be the names here. And that's really cool. I would use this particular format if I needed to. And it really gives you a lot of functionality here. It's very portable. Everything's inside of an array, and you can just reference it as an array. And you don't have to worry about the multiple lines here so much in order to deal with your work. You can use a loop. This is effective. This one's very effective. So it's up to you how you want to do that. We also have another example here. This sentence, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. And what you can see is that we could pass out the output like this, for example, if we wanted to. But what we use is a special syntax here, a special function that's going to actually make a list or parse this list. It's returning an array from split. It's going to parse this array into these variables, and there's 4 of them. So we're going to see how that's done. Using the split function, we need to split on something. This is delimited by something. It's delimited by a space. It could be comma space, for example. But if we want to grab the words, we split it on the space. So this is saying split that string out over spaces and grab each of those words or whatever characters are in between spaces. Doesn't matter what the characters are, as long as they're not spaces. And we're going to use the sentence as a source string there, comma separated, and then we're going to return an array that has 4 elements. So that's the limit there, and that's optional as well. Otherwise, it would just do all of them. We set it at 4 because we actually have 4 variables that we want to come back from the list. So very interesting that we're having a function on this side and a function on this side. And you know what? It's actually going to set values for us, which is really, really cool. word 1, word 2, word 3, and then the rest. It doesn't continue to parse it, but it just fills in the rest because that's what we told it to do. Only do 4. Parse by the space, and then just grab the rest. And we can see that right here. And these are just variables that have a hard break after the echo. So very neat, very interesting to do that. And we're getting into more of the really nice functionality within PHP because it gives you a lot. You don't have to write this like in C or use an extra library. It's all built in and it's really, really exciting. Another function is pRegSplit. And what this does is it works more with regular expression type patterns that we're going to see in the regular expression video. These forward slashes are just keeping a pattern in here separate with single quotes here as well. This is just saying we're going to work with a space. It's really a lot of extra there, but you can see that this is the opening of the pattern, and this is the close of the pattern. And the pattern is what's in between, which is a space. We're again going to break it off by space, and it is similar to split. Here is the source, and then we're going to put it into an array. A little bit more complicated. You want to take a look at that particular function to see more information about it, and we just break it out and print it out. No big deal. And you can see we view it as an array. It just breaks it out for us and makes that into an array. And then we have a for loop to go through and echo those out. Notice we're going by count here, the count of that array, the size, and then we're just using the element, numeric element there. Pretty basic there. Now, but the pattern gets complicated depending on what you need, so it can be really, really cool for you. Again, we're using this sentence, but we're comma space delimiting things, and we're going to use the explode. So we're using a different type of delimiter here, comma space, doesn't matter, but this is just another example. And then we're going to use the explode. And you can see $sentence is the source again, which is right here. And then we're going to put it into an array again. And you can see, using explode, it's doing the same thing. So it's up to you which functions you want to use and how you want to use them. So just jump into the details of the functions. They have definitely more functionality than I can list here effectively within a few minutes of a video, and it takes a little bit of practice to get used to which ones you want to use. But this is how you break it out again, the same thing, same exact thing. And then implode goes in the reverse. We have $sentence2, and it's going to implode that, space delimited, from AR string, STRs, AR stirs. And that's going to make this into a string sentence. So it's imploding an array, and that's the reverse of exploding. And you can see that once you do that, you can go in reverse. So you have the ability to go from the source to the destination, from the destination to the source. So from your website, from your client's browser to the web server side, and then you can go back in reverse depending on what you need to do. It's really just packaging. If you need to put something in a nice little package and send it to the server, and then do the reverse to use it inside of the server on a script or something like that, then it's excellent to be able to use these functions. And I just would recommend that you go into the details and see how the different functions here can really extend your websites, and also look at the details, the extra details that are not presented here, to see the real power within these functions.